where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking what's next. They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live. Welcome to another Thursday. We are happy to be here with you. We hope you are happy to be here. Robin, do you have any ghost stories?
Now that comes to the top of my mind.
Are you a person who believes in ghosts?
Yes.
Really?
I think that the possibility exists. There have been times where I have felt or I've caught something out of the corner of my eye and you just feel a presence. Like, you know, when somebody's staring at you and you can just kind of feel that energy. There's a couple of times it's happened at my old house. There's a couple of times it's happened. Like, I'm sitting in the living room and I could have sworn there was somebody that walked by that window. You see or you feel a movement. So I don't know if you feel it more than you see it. Years ago, my mom told me this story years ago that when she and my dad had just gotten married, they were renting this apartment up like on a upper level. So they had to walk out up the garage, up the side of the steps to get in. And she said, in the middle of the night, and my parents didn't drink, they didn't do anything, like nothing. And she said they had gone to bed and both of them woke up sitting on the floor by the bed in the middle of, both of them are looking at each other, like how no recollection of,
how they got there,
why they got
there.
Right. And so it was just weird. So that was weird. My mom's not somebody that believes in like
the occult,
paranormal or anything like that. What about you?
So I don't necessarily believe in ghosts themselves, but having been in the real estate industry for a long time, I feel like there are houses that need to be smudged and saged and the windows opened and a prayer set.
Yes.
Because the houses have had a vibe.
Yes.
And one of the houses, someone calls me to list a house and I go through it and I just don't want to be near the laundry room. I don't want to be near it at all. I just the house has a bad feeling. And I find out, I Google the house because I'm like, just got to Google this house. And there was a murder there. And the murder was in the laundry room.
Wow.
Which was weird. And there was another house that there was the double murder suicide where the woman killed both of her children and then herself. And the most bizarre thing is the house was empty except for a dining room table and one chair in one of the bedrooms where the murder took place. And I'm like, why aren't you taking out the chair? It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
So I've been, and then years and years ago, there was
that is crazy.
a house that my friend had listed and she was on vacation. So I was going through to do some work that was happening under escrow. And I said to her, I'm like, you got to have that house saged. When I came back and she's like, no, I know it's definitely a thing. I'm like, I would not stay in the house by myself, but not because I felt a ghost as much as I felt.
Well, so I think that's the spirit. I think energy.
Yes.
You feel like the residue of energy.
And we're going to have a guest on next week or the week after. And I think she's a perfect person to have this conversation with.
That's cool.
And I didn't know if you had any experiences of that with houses or with places. I was a property manager for 24 years, and I remember one of the tenants calling and saying, we can't sleep here. There's ghosts here. And I'm like, okay, I'll let you out of your lease. And she's like, what? I'm like, what am I going to argue with you? Like, if you don't want to
Right.
live there, you don't want to live there. I'm not holding you hostage.
Yeah.
You'll have to like pay the termination fee and get out. Go find another place.
Yeah.
Because I think she was so shocked that I was not going to have some big argument with her.
Big argument, yeah.
But I had a couple of, and I said, do you want to have the house blessed? Do you want to have the house say, like, there is this mechanism, and it used to be something that happened all the time. We used to have house blessings. People used to have priests come by their homes when they moved into apartments or whatever. It was a normal part of culture because houses have, some of our houses have stood for 150 years.
Yeah. When we first got married, we had this little apartment in Bennington, and we had our pastor come over with his wife for dinner, and he blessed our house. He literally walked through the house, put his hands on the walls, and I whether it means anything or not, I don't know if it just gives you a sense of peace or if it actually releases, energy that's there. I'm like, there's a few times that I've saged our house, and I'm like, I don't know if I feel any different afterwards, but I feel like the act of
Blessing it.
doing it, and I feel like going through and like whether it's really something happening or you're just resetting your own energy. But I definitely I rented this house in Mount Vernon, and even the kids, like, it was such a beautiful place. It was on 17 acres. It was it had this beautiful deck that was built around this tree. It had a not pergola. What's the a gazebo, a screened-in gazebo. We had this amazing fire pit. Had its own little lake. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, beautiful property. But it was just we were talking about it the other day. Like, I don't remember eating in the kitchen. The kitchen was so dark, and it was only it was like the dining room spot, and like we never ate and watching TV or in front of we were either outside or in that house. We would go upstairs in the TV room and watch it. Like, it was an addition that was built to the house. Like, we did not stay in that kitchen for whatever. My dining room table was in it. It was like I had this big island, and the dining room table was on the other side of it, and it's all windows. So in theory, it
should be beautiful.
It's beautiful. But man, I hated going to bed at night there, and it had those like transom windows right above your bed. And so it was like all open, like all these windows. It was beautiful. You had a little balcony off of my bedroom. That house was just creepy.
Yeah.
Like, we spent more time outside than we did inside.
Interesting. How long did you live there?
7 months, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Not very long.
Yeah, you were like in and out.
No. Yeah. It was so creepy that Chris was renting a house in Merrimack, and his roommates were moving, and the daughter was one of the roommates, the daughter of the owner, and they were moving, and we ended up taking over his. So then he had to go find another place to live at the time. But I'm like, no, we had to get out of there. I'm like, we switched schools, everything.
Really? It was that much of a feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I had one of my clients looked at the house with the murder, double murder, suicide. And I'm like, really?
Where was this?
In Bedford. It was the only murder in Bedford in like 30 years.
Yeah, wasn't he like a gun owner? I mean, a gun shop?
He was, but he wasn't anywhere near the property when it happened.
She was my patient.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. So you met her?
Yes.
Well, it was interesting because anytime when I found out, you go into the house, you find out that it happens, you're like, oh, okay. And I said to my client, do you really want to get into a house that the last occupant was this?
Yeah.
And it was like a valid question.
Yeah.
And she said, well, we never know what happens that behind closed doors. She goes, people can have years and years of abuse.
Yeah.
Horrible things can happen in homes.
Yeah.
It's just four walls. And I really appreciated that perspective for her. But to me, I was like, I don't know what I would have to do to feel comfortable in the home where that was the last one.
And not to think about it every day.
Yeah, that was the last one. Like,
so
just
why
a
was
sadness.
the chair just in the bedroom?
I don't know. And I'm like, take it out.
And there's no other furniture in there?
There was a dining room set. And a chair in the bedroom, nothing else. And I'm like, get rid of, what is the chair doing in the room?
Did they ever solve the murder?
Well, they did because the woman killed herself.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I still don't believe it.
Oh, I believe she killed herself.
I don't. I don't.
I do. I believe she killed herself. I think she obviously had some issues, and I don't think she had a good support system here. I mean, I don't know the woman from Adam.
That's
First
right.
of all,
That's
my
right.
opinions don't matter.
Yeah.
But I became so interested
Yeah.
because of what happened, and because it was a house I was showing to a client who was actually putting in an offer. I started doing this deep
Yeah.
dive, and then I wanted
Yeah.
to talk to people about it because that's how I process things, is I talk.
Did you go knock on the doors, neighbors?
No, yeah. But I talked to like a policeman, like I talked
Yeah,
to a
yeah,
bunch
yeah,
of
yeah.
different people, and nobody would talk about it. It was really interesting how they said, that's so sad, don't even talk about it. That's that poor woman, those poor children, don't even talk about it. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, I need to know more now. Now I'm actually, my interest is piqued even further
Yeah.
that nobody
Yeah.
will talk about it. Like, did she have family? Like, who? And it
I
was,
don't think she had a lot of family here. I don't think she had
from
any
my
family
research, she didn't. And I really wanted to start writing a book about it because I was like, to me, there was a mystery.
Here. Yeah, I just
And I think it's a big deal to kill your kids and kill yourself.
I see. I think that
I think like I want to know more to the story. I want to know how this happens. I want more.
See, I feel like there was a history of some domestic violence. I think the police had been called before to their house.
But he had been nowhere around that
Yeah.
house. From all my research, he wasn't anywhere near that house. He wasn't there at the time. He wasn't a suspect.
You have a really good alibi.
I mean, anyone.
I don't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. She just. I remember her. She was so sweet, and her kids were her everything. I
Mhm.
can't imagine.
But do you think if you don't have anyone, so say you move to a new country, you go move to France, you have small children, you're married, but then you get divorced, you're all alone, you have no one to talk to. Like, does
No,
does
it's never an option. It would never be an option. I
no?
don't
But I'm
even-
thinking,
Yeah.
like, does it's a weird Thursday conversation,
I
but
know.
now because we're on the ghost story piece, do you ever think that someone thinks no one's going to take care of my kids as good as me? I'm not leaving. Like, I obviously I tried to talk to one woman who knew her because the kids went to either a dance studio or I don't remember the details now because it was a lot of more
It's a
than
long
a few
time.
years ago. It
Yeah.
was like before COVID that I was looking at the house.
Yeah.
But I found these files because I was doing research because I was like, this would be an interesting book
Yeah.
for me. Fascinating
Yeah.
from a mother perspective, from the kids, like just
Yeah.
the whole thing I found very
Yeah.
interesting. And I'm always trying to write stuff. So I was pulling all the information and I found that file and I'm like, let me delete this file. First of all, nothing ever happened with it. I never got anywhere. I couldn't get anyone to talk about it, which
Yeah.
I thought was even stranger.
Yeah.
That nobody was like, she was my friend or my friend knew her kid. Like it was almost as if they discussed it. Whatever badness happened would leap on them.
I had a meeting at town hall.
Right. Don't talk about this.
Yeah, but you guys lived in Bedford at the time, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you remember like talking, like people talking about
Nobody
it?
would talk about it. Nobody
Even
talked
back
about
then?
Yeah, nobody talked about it. And when I tried to talk, they would tell me, "Oh my God, horrible! Don't talk about it." And I'm like, "But that makes me want to talk about it more."
Right. Yes. Wait, what are you covering up?
Well, I'm curious.
Yeah.
The Andrea Yates thing. So Andrea Yates, if you don't remember, maybe it was in the 90s.
Oh.
She was a woman who drowned her 5 children. And that story, anytime you have, true crime, there is a fascination of like what happens so it doesn't happen to somebody else a little bit, but also like what's happening to the human condition or what's happening in a particular scenario. And I did some huge deep dives on that at the time, probably because I have a mom issue.
2001.
Oh, really? Okay, that was later than I thought.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I think because of my, difficult relationship with my mother, like that mother-daughter relationship was difficult, that anytime there was something in which the mother harmed her kids, I found an extra fascination to it just because when I was younger, people would go, whenever I would have a problem, they go, she's your mother. Everything, like she loves you. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if she's loving me right at this moment.
Yeah.
So I think I was always fascinated with the idea that a mother harms their child because nobody would talk about that when I was younger. I think probably that was a piece of the fascination. And fascination's probably the wrong word for it, but I don't have a better one at this moment. But Andrea Yates, her husband stood by her at the trial. It was
And she was found not guilty by reason of insanity.
because she was insane, because she had been saying for like a year or two, she'd been trying to kill herself. And she was saying, I hear voices in my head. And she was trying to kill herself because she didn't want to act out whatever this demonic thing was happening to her, in her opinion. And she was on and off depression medication, cycled through various mental illness medication. And they know now that you can't just start and stop those drugs. On the cover of or the side effects of every one of those mental illness or mental helpful, depression, SSRIs, they all say, do not suddenly start or stop this medication. And they all say you can have suicidal ideations.
Yeah.
So because of that,
there's so many drugs that if you listen to it or you read it.
You hear the side effects, you're like, I'm all set. What cracks me up about some of those pharmaceutical drugs is when they're treating diarrhea, for example.
Right.
One of the side effects is diarrhea. Like, no thanks. I think I'm already set with that. I'm trying to cure it.
Constipation, bloating, no thanks. I'm already dealing with it.
So, but this got brought up again because in Massachusetts, there's that woman that killed her children that is now suing the pharmaceutical companies.
I don't know. Do I know about this?
And don't ask me the name. I can't remember.
But I was thinking, do you remember Diane Downs?
Yes. Yes.
That was we read the book, but then
yes, we did too.
Well, so it's such a kid, that happened in '83, and I'm 10.
Yes,
and I'm thinking wow, I didn't. When I was reading the book couple of years later, on her, my mom.
The name of the book was Small Sacrifices.
Yes.
The best-selling book from 1987. Detailing the horrific 1983 case of Diane Downs, who shot her children, but one of them lived.
Yes. And it was she was a mail carrier or something like that, and she shot him on the side of the road and tried to blame it somebody came along, and yes. But it was this is so far I didn't realize that this happened when I was alive. It was when I was reading the story, it was, you still just couldn't fathom that, wow, this happened when I was 10 years old. And here I am just reading it a couple of years later, and just so, my mom was on these true crime.
Oh, yes, because that's when it first came out.
Yes.
That true crime, the books.
Green River Killer,
who's the doctor who killed his wife? I'll get the name of that one.
But and we were stuck on Charles Manson,
we were reading the most joyous things.
Right. As teenagers, young adults. What were you reading?
So I was reading Flowers in the Attic, where the kids are molesting, the brothers and sisters are molesting each other.
Yes, and the grandmother's poisoning them with arsenic.
And then the daughters, the mother's killing all the kids. That's what I read.
Yes.
Why did you have nightmares? Why were you an insomniac?
Serial killers, that men dressed up in women's clothes, and, I'm trying to think, what was Charles Manson, one of his girls? I think her book was called Child of Satan, Child of God. That was good.
I was trying to find the name of the doctor who killed his wife. That was a very I'll look it up and I'll figure it out at the half of the hour.
Mom.
The top of the hour, sorry. But
what's the one in Mass?
I will look that one up too, because I can't think of it on the top of my head at all. But it kind of all got brought up because I read The Spoil. So far, I read Yesteryear, and I loved that.
Lindsay Clancy. Is that it?
What was the name of the book that came out?
No. Oh, this is the one. This was,
Massachusetts?
Yeah.
And she's suing the pharmaceutical companies?
I don't know. Psychiatric care. Clancy pleaded not guilty to murder charges. Ranged from, I was trying to see if this looks like it just happened.
Yeah, recently, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that's a huge component to it. That was a huge component in Andrea Yates, and no one talked about it at the time. Her husband stood by her. When you read what that woman was going through, she was living in a trailer on her husband's, because her husband got a job. She was forced to care for her father-in-law, 5 children in a trailer in a parking lot. She's killing herself. They're putting her in and out of the hospital. They're starting and stopping drugs. Because she was on these drugs, you have to stop the drugs when you're getting pregnant. She would get pregnant because they believed children were gifts from God, and that you have to accept as many as God's giving you. So the second she would get pregnant, she'd have to hard stop these medications, plus postpartum, this poor woman, these poor children, and this poor family, everyone who has anything to do with them. And that was swept under the rug back then. They really, other than the sensational headline piece of it, nobody really wanted to dive into what was happening.
I still don't think people want to admit, on some levels, that people don't want to admit the level of mental health issues that we experience.
So one of the things that have been coming up on my feed, I read a book by Dr. Daniel Amen about brain health. And so now he's offering brain scans to people. And I was watching one of his Instagram stories where this woman was diagnosed with ADD, and he's like, you don't have ADD. If you had ADD, this center of your brain would light up for this and this. You've had a trauma. You don't have ADD. You just have unresolved trauma. Go to therapy. Fix something that happened to you and stop taking all this medication. You're not helping you. The reason why you're not better on this ADD medicine is you don't really have ADD.
Wow.
It's free.
So did she get in therapy?
Well, it just came out.
I think we all have some level of mental health.
I think at any given point, look at me with seasonal affective disorder, right? In the winter, I'm going to get blue, and I'm going to have to tell myself it's just that I need to get somewhere sunny. It's the most natural thing in the world that I need sunshine. I'm a full sunflower.
Yes.
But it's hard because depression is lack of motivation. It's lack of enjoyment, right? And I think if you lose a spouse or you lose a child, if you're not depressed, something's wrong with you.
Right.
I think there's a certain amount of human emotion and part of the human experience that everyone's dealing with. Now, you don't want to get stuck in any one of these for too long.
Right.
But, I think depression is a normal part of existence. I think a little bit of anxiety is a normal part of existence. I think we are living in unprecedented times with information. And I think too much information, we're not meant to hear the woes of the billions of people on the planet.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think we're taking in too much information more than we can digest. We're consuming too much.
Yes.
And that makes you depressed.
It is information overload. Yeah, I think that we all struggle, but I think that our ability to overcome, you can't just live in happy, joy all the time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're delusional.
Yeah.
That becomes delusion.
Be nice.
Which is another mental condition that we want to discuss. Good delusions and bad delusions. I can do that run today.
Brain health. That's
yes.
a good, we have to have good brain health.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought it was really interesting that he was opening up. You can get a brain scan, because what he's saying is people get these brain scans in dementia to confirm they have dementia. Well, they should have it 30 years earlier so they can start doing the things necessary to have good brain health.
Yes.
And don't just do a brain scan when they're 80.
Well, but our whole healthcare system is set up to be, not proactive, not to be preventative.
Right.
It's set to being pharmaceutical companies they wouldn't make as much money.
Well, they should be working on other problems.
It's reactive instead of proactive.
Right. Now, there's some things that, thank God, the pharmaceutical company came through and defeated polio and stopped AIDS.
Right.
Now you don't have to die from AIDS. There is really good pharmaceutical. Right. Thank God we have penicillin.
Right.
I'm not, really boohooing the whole thing. But now you're just making drugs to make drugs.
But there's a point. Yes. I mean,
And honestly, does a pill usually fix things?
well, but your first go-to, like I've said it for years, when you have high cholesterol, your doctor's like, well, you need to be on, cholesterol medication. Instead of, hey, let's take 3 months, let's eat oatmeal, let's add 10 minutes of exercise a day, let's make some small health changes. Instead, like, nope, you need to be on Lipitor. You need to be on a cholesterol medicine. High blood pressure, let's do this. Don't reduce your salt intake. Don't do anything. Don't talk about exercise. Like, it's like, oh, here, do this, but we're going to prescribe you a medication.
Well, I think I've told this story before. We had a friend, he had a heart attack, and he's in the hospital, and I went to the hospital. He had the surgery, but he was still vomiting. So they were like, oh, we got to go back in. And a cardiologist came in, not his cardiologist. And she's looking through the chart and she goes, oh, did you have any symptoms did you have any warnings that this was coming? And he goes, no, like it's just out of the blue.
Mm.
And she said, you have hypertension, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have this. And he said, yeah, but I was medicated for those. So now here comes in Wonder Woman. Like you've had every indication you're going to have a heart attack, but he thought he was mitigating the heart attack by taking these pills.
Right.
And then after he had the heart attack, he did lose tons of weight. He came off all his meds because he was doing all the lifestyle changes.
Right.
But we all don't, like, who the hell wants to do that? It's boring.
Yeah, but doctor, I don't feel like in my experience, it's not been that they start with, let's make, lifestyle changes first.
Right.
Let's get this, under, control.
Yes, let's start with the medication.
Yeah.
So that was my ghost stories questions, and I started. I read Yesteryear, which I loved. I read The Spoil by Malay Chapman. It's starts in the 70s, so it's basically perfect nostalgia for me. She watches the movies I watched. She watched the X-Files. She had all this nostalgic that made it like feel like it was written particularly for me.
That's cool.
But it was a book about the supernatural, a little paranormal. She's dealing with the grief, the resulting grief from her mother passing away, and her mother had dementia, and she feels like she has ADD. So she feels like she can't get anything done. And then I loved this book. I loved this book so much that I'm like, this is not her first book. Her last book was written in 2010 called Your Presence is Requested at Cervanto. And so I had the bookstore order it for me, and I can't wait to read that book.
What was the name of the first book that you read?
The Spoil.
The Spoil. I had to write that down.
It was just exactly what I needed. It's probably 500 pages. It was just so well written. I love when books have a place and it's a character.
Yeah.
So her story takes place in Tacoma, Washington, which is a small character, and then Las Vegas, where she moves, which I've never been to Vegas, but now that I've read this, I feel like I know what it's like to live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I just loved everything about it. I loved her writing. I loved the story itself. I loved the way it looped back on itself. It reminded me of, because she talks about the X-Files. She talks about Alien and Aliens, those two shows. And so she does have pop culture references as like a way to like bring you into it. But one of the things that I like so much is it made me pull out the X-Files DVDs. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to start rewatching the X-Files.
Wait, do you have a DVD player?
I do.
Wow. Can you even buy one?
I have 4 drawers of DVDs.
We have a ton of DVDs, but we've never gotten rid of them. But I think, gosh.
Maybe you should bring some over to me because I have a DVD player.
I think we can. Well, I think you can play it on our PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how we did it. I don't even know.
Yeah, so we have great movies, and we have series. One of the series we bought was Stargate. Another series that we bought was Dexter.
Yeah.
We bought X-Files. We bought all the Jurassic Parks and all of those over the years.
Yeah.
And so we started watching X-Files, and what I loved about X-Files is it had a long arcing storyline. It had short, punchy episodes. And then it was self-referential and it made fun of itself. And then it had a lot of humor in a very crazy, cryptic. There was just something for everyone all the time, I think, for the X-Files. So I started rewatching some of the X-Files, and the last one last night was a ghost story. A Christmas ghost story.
Oh.
And that's how that whole came up this morning.
That's how that came up.
Apologies. Apologies. What are you doing for your exercise routine? You said you changed up your exercise routine.
Well, I've been swimming, but I also have been doing more focusing on my legs.
Mhm.
Trying to get my bum back in shape.
And what are you doing? Glutey
Well,
things?
I forgot what you
Because
call
no one
them.
sings about small butts.
Well, deadlifts. I've been doing. They're called like Romanian deadlifts. You take the weight and you just are kind of doing a squat, but you don't really go like you take the weight and kind of slide it down your legs to like your knees, and then I forgot what it's called. You're laying on your back and you're like pushing your butt up in the air, and so I do like different sets of that. Like with my legs together, my legs further apart, and then one leg in the air and doing that. And then I have these
Are you
resistance.
using bands?
Well, not for those.
Okay.
But then I have resistance bands, and I have it in my basement. So I've hooked it to the metal pole, and then I tie it around my ankles. And so they're like 20 pounds each. And so I just get enough tension on them, and then I do leg curls with that. So I do that, and then I do squats, and then I have started doing my rowing machine. And I'm like, boy, I got on my rowing machine, and I'm like, I thought I was in pretty good shape. And I'm like, wow, 5 minutes was killing me.
Well, the rower, certain exercises are full body, so you're using so much energy for them. And rowing is one of them.
Well, I mean, but I feel like I can get on my bike and knock out 10 miles.
Yeah, but your arms aren't moving at the same.
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
moving
That's
your
true.
arms, your core. A rowing is a full body workout.
Yeah.
The way swimming is.
So I try to do that, and I've been trying to do planking. Like I'll plank for. Well, I used to could plank for like a minute. It like no problem. Now I'm like, okay, I have to do 30 seconds, rest for a few seconds, and then do another 30 seconds. So I try to do like 3 minutes of planking throughout the whole, because I'm like, I really want just my core to be stronger. And I feel like, well, actually, I was telling Chris last night, I'm like, man, I feel like my body has changed so much in just 1 year.
Yeah, I do
like
think
since last year, like your skin is sagging in places that it didn't sag last year, and I'm like, what?
well, it's getting older.
I'm like, but why? I don't want to be older.
It's just a meat suit.
Yes.
And I do think the more we're in front of, we take pictures all the time. I was trying to delete pictures. I think I had 7,000 pictures on my phone. I'm like, I got to get to 4,000 because I have so many. The digital mechanism allows us to take so many of the same thing. But I had 1,000 pictures of sunsets.
Yes.
Do I really need to keep all of those sunset pictures?
I know.
And then there's the part of me like, maybe.
I know.
Maybe I need to keep them though. I love a good
That's
sunset.
Such a good angle. That's such a good angle. I know. And I do think that it's we were doing a photo shoot yesterday by the pool, and like it's actually pretty cool. Like I'm getting like 3 or 4 free bikinis a month, and Malibu Strings sent me a coffee cup, and the president of the company, he's like, hey, can you take some pictures and post on the main feed in my coffee cup? And he asked me to do the Christmas in July thing, so like it all went out. Like my pictures are on the email that they send out to everybody that subscribes to them. So I'm definitely trying to build a brand. And so anyway, he just reached out. So I was doing some of those photos. And
then I want to talk about the fact that when you first came on the show 3 years ago, you were talking about you were trying to figure out how to make something for yourself creatively that included photography, that included empowerment, but you were thinking it was going to be boudoir photography at the time.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, well, this makes more sense. You're more sunny. You're more beachy.
Yes.
This is really more like authentically.
And I have more bathing suits than you know what to do with.
Right. What transpired over the last 3 years in a good way and in a bad way towards you going towards a goal, for example?
I think I think us owning the pool, having a pool, and having Chris, always encouraging me and always feeling like, oh, you're beautiful, you're sexy. And, he bought my first like skimpy bikini, and he was on Micro Minimus. Micro Minimus is the bikini brand. Well, so if you buy or you can buy into the community, it's private. They have a private community. You can post your galleries of your bathing suits and things like that, and people will tip you. And usually that tip money goes to buying another bathing suit. So I literally have not bought a bathing suit probably in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I bought a regular bathing suit that I can wear in public, but
I've been with you when you bought that bathing suit.
yes,
And your daughter's been with you when you bought that bathing suit.
yes. But as far as that, like I have two huge Tupperwares, full of these bikinis that have been tipped to me, or you know, I got a dress in the mail and another bikini in the mail from Malibu Strings, and he's like, "Can you post some of these?" So I'm getting enough traction and visibility on them that they're wanting to support me. So I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
But do you feel like when you were doing it as an idea back before you were doing the radio show, and you were like, I think I want to do this, what did you expect in a good way that came to fruition? What was better about it? What is worse about it? How do you feel 3 years later?
So I think Chris encouraging me, buying the bathing suits, buying the skimpy bathing suits, and then I posted a gallery in that on Micro Minimus, because he'd been in the community for like 3 years before. He bought me one and I never wore it, and I was like, I'm not wearing that. And then he bought me another one, and he was like, you should do this, you should do this. We went to Costa Rica and we were on a private beach, and he's like, you should wear this, we should do a photo shoot. And I'm like, I loved it, and I loved the way the pictures came out. I loved feeling that free and sexy, and like just really learning to embrace me, like all my flaws. Like I'm a Virgo. I'm such a perfectionist that I wouldn't wear these things because I didn't see myself as perfect. And Chris had been encouraging me for years and years. So we got back and I posted my gallery from Costa Rica, and I ended up winning a bikini contest. So a lot of times they'll put one of your pictures in a photo competition. Well, it won, and then it got the attention of some of these girls that do the Bikini Bash every year. So it's like an invite only, and they're like, you should come, we should do this. And Chris is like, absolutely, you should do this. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know what it's about. I don't want, like, looking at some of the other girls' galleries, like there's girls kissing, and, there's like topless, and, there's just, nude and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't think I could do that. I don't feel comfortable. But he's like, let's just go. We can do our own shoot, but we can meet these girls. And I had been talking to a couple of them in the private message. Everybody, they're reaching out. They'll comment on your post. So we go down, and the first day, like, everybody is so, like, just so open. They're so open, so supportive, so kind, like nurturing. Like, it was not, yes, you're in this sexy thing. So the first night that we go there, it's like a meet and greet. They have appetizers and dinners, and everybody's wearing something sheer, or, you can wear whatever you want, but everybody's like sheer and nude underneath. And it's like, okay, this is really weird, but
this is like Key West. When I went to Key West with my girlfriend at 22, we went before Halloween. It was October, and I think it was called Fantasy Fest weekend, which people just walked around in body paint on the streets. And I will tell you, we wanted them to have clothes.
Yes.
When we were 21 and we were looking at everybody who was loving themselves, we were like, love yourself a little less.
Over there.
Or not in front of me.
Behind closed doors.
And, everybody, a lot of people were naked, men and women. And a lot of people had paint on.
Yeah.
As, like a distraction, I guess. And I just remember that age being like, never in a million years. And here I am at 54 saying, at least not 54 years and not doing anything like that.
Well, yeah, I never would have. I never, ever, ever.
But I remember walking through the city, like, I think we came during, I think we were misinformed about what this was. And then we went into this club. We were like, oh, music sounds great. And we go in and we're like, we have never seen this many men dancing. It's because the music is so good. No, it's because you're in a gay bar. But we were fine with that. We danced with all the gay guys and they were so fun.
Absolutely.
We had such a good time. They had such great music. It was such a good time. But it was a very, like, it was when you show up for something that you're not ready for, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm also not a nude beach person.
Yeah.
The dentist I used to work for used to go to a nude beach, and he used to have hair coming out of the top of the back of his collared shirt. And he used to always...
Wolfman.
I always used to be like, and do you shave to go in a bit? Like, or are you like, everyone's like, oh, he's not really nude. He has his fur coat on. Just not my thing. But so back to do you feel empowered?
Yes. And
but then you say,
well, but seeing all these people, all shapes and sizes, there's a lady in their 70s there, and she's walking around topless, and everybody's got C-section scars. People have got cellulite. People have had breast cancer. They've had mastectomies. Like, there's just all shapes and sizes, and it was empowering to me. It's like, wake up. You're being so critical on yourself.
And I was just going to say that about when you're saying, I don't like this wrinkle. I don't like the sag. I don't like my butt.
It. Yeah.
But so that's why I was trying to figure out, is this because you felt so empowered originally and what made you want to do it? Is it still making you feel empowered now, or is it making you feel more critical?
Both.
Okay. Because you're looking at yourself so much?
So, Chris, I did two bathing suits yesterday, and Chris I downloaded them from the camera to my iPad so we can just see them. And he's like, oh my God, look at this. And I'm looking at it from like a picture. I'm looking at it, the lighting, like what's in the background, like I'm looking at the image itself. And then I think that, like you said it, I think sometimes I've spent so much time editing my own pictures and picturing it that I'm seeing all my flaws because I am such a perfectionist. So sometimes I got to get it out of my own head to being like, wait, stop being so critical. Chris is like, look at the curve, look at the arch of your back right here. Look at the way that your hip, look at the way that your hip and your hand are meeting. And he's like, so he kind of brings it back to being like, because I want to create art. And I think the human body is beautiful. And
all the sculptures are of it. Like whenever you go to the other places, I have a great picture of a statue from behind.
Yes.
The human body is art form.
Yes.
Right? And that's why, so I was trying to figure out, because there's a part of you that sounds so much more critical of yourself. And so there's the part of me that's like, oh, because when I was going through some shows, I was like, oh, this was when you first came on. Right when Meg came on, and she was talking about the bras and how empower young women or empower small-breasted women in a society that, values a perfect body and that you can buy. Like, we talked about all that stuff as empowerment.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, 3 years later, now that you've been in it for a period of time, is it as empowering? Does it still feel empowering?
Yes. So there was a lady that reached out to me on Microminimus, and she is like, I just love your pictures. I love your galleries. I love your energy. And a lot of times what I'm getting, the feedback that I get is, it doesn't matter what my pose is. They're like, I love your smile. Mm-hmm. I love your energy. And to me, that's what makes it worth it, is when you can feel the energy that I'm trying to give you in that. And so this lady reached out to me, and she said she hasn't posted any galleries, but she's like, she was bikinis, but now she's got two young kids. And she's like, did you wear bikinis before you had kids? And I'm like, no, I actually didn't. It wasn't until after I had gained, 85 pounds of baby. And so I sent her a picture of me being pregnant. And I said, it wasn't until after this when I realized, wow, I was being so critical of myself way before. I was 114 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I shouldn't, I had gravity, working with me. I didn't have cellulite then. I didn't
Mhm.
have any, loose, wrinkly skins. I didn't have any of that part of me. And I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, why was I so hard on myself? So I shared that with her. And she's like, I'm getting back to it. And so I just shared a little bit of my story. And she's like, how old are you? And I said, I'm 52. And I literally just started this. And it's because it's not about being perfect. And that's sometimes I have to remind myself
Yeah.
that it's not about being perfect. You're doing it to empower other people. And I've had a lot of women reach out and being like, can you teach me poses? Like, how do you do this? Like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't. She's like, are you professional? And I'm like, no, I'm not professional. I'm like, I just think about what I think would be beautiful, or what I think that would be sexy, or just sometimes Chris and I just get caught up in energy playing, being stupid and silly. And
Yeah.
and he's like, that's what that's what he likes to capture, is those candid moments when you're smiling, you're being, he's like, it's one of the things that attracted me the most to you is sometimes you're sexy and you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just being you. You're just being silly. You're willing to be, you know, doing a stupid pose. Like, I think I did one of my poses, like I'm doing the squat and my legs are out, and like, this moment. And he's like, it's one of my favorite poses. It's one of my favorite pictures of you.
Yeah.
It's just because that is your energy.
Yeah.
And so I
don't think a lot of people, I think the covers of magazines and various things would have us think the scowling, moody, duck face is the sexy, but I don't know that is really attractive in a sexy way, or is that something that sells?
Yeah.
Or have we been conditioned that is supposed to be the attractive?
Yeah.
I
can't do sexy face. I've tried it. I've tried to do sultry, and it
I
almost
look
looks
angry.
like, yes.
If
I look angry, or I look like I'm, 4 sheets in the wind. Like,
how drunk are you?
do my slanty eyes and like, wait, are you high?
Right.
If you high, say you high. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like,
no, I'm luring you. Luring me where?
That's my cup.
Into the bathroom to get high with you? What are you luring me into?
Yeah, that's my kitty cat pose. So I'm like, no, my best one is just my smile. Like, I can't do sultry. I can't do that. And I'm like, I'm not even going to try. But I have to remind myself, like, so we looked at like 300 pictures yesterday, and I was like, ugh, I can't even do this anymore. I have to walk away because I'm starting to be critical, and I'm like, that's not
the point of it.
It's not the point of it, and it's not. Well, I think anytime you are trying to do something good or the enemy's always at the door.
Yeah.
No matter what you're trying to do, whether it's pictures, whether it's business, whether
you're writing something.
Right. Whether it's being a better parent, better person, like, you're always going to have the opposite trying to come against you. And so that's where I have to, I lay it down. I've had a much more positive feedback, and feeling like there's a lot of women that are reaching out and wanting to connect. And so that is what encourages me to being able to being like, I'll show you my boob. I don't, it's not, I don't see it the same. It's one thing to be sexy and fun and being bold, but not having to be X-rated and vulgar. And I think that's there's a difference between it,
Hugh Hefner would agree with you. He was never, all those naked women in his magazines, he was never being vulgar. He was always just.
That's true.
Hugh agrees in his bathrobe with his 75 playmates in the house. But he agrees with you.
Yeah. But so I used to be, like, when we were in school, when we'd have to change for gym class, I would always change in the shower. Like, I would never change. Like, even when I was.
And sometimes I'll just say when I'm in a gym environment or in a spa environment, I do appreciate a little bit of
Privacy. Yeah.
You know, there's some people, their towels on their head and nowhere else, and you're like, oh my God, you're bending over, clipping your toenail, like
Yes.
in the, you know, with your leg up. Like,
Yes.
I don't need to see this. Like,
Yes.
looks like goat
Yes.
wandered in.
Yes.
Which is a Tim Allen joke. That women have been frightened by their men bending over in the bathroom. A goat had wandered in here. Such an old good joke.
Oh my God. That's funny. I forgot that. Oh.
Tim Allen was a great comedian.
Yes.
Great comedian.
Well, so we went in and Chris is like, how am I going to handle this? You know, how am I not going to be aroused by seeing all these naked women on the beach? And just the energy and the vibe, like they're literally standing there with a sheer top on and you could see, you can see everything. Or there's topless people and you have a sheer mesh bikini on. And it was so non-sexual. Like all the guys, all their husbands, some of them have got like 3 or 4 cameras around their neck and you're all lining up. And it literally felt like a professional photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, turn here, turn there. The guys were super, super respectful. Like there was nothing.
Yeah, they didn't want to get tasered. Right? You're never going to be invited back if we have to tase you because you can't keep it together for 15 minutes.
But so like that was what was. There's
Do you think
men
that's what
there.
Sports Illustrated was trying to do a few years ago when it was putting all those women that were not the typical athletic body?
Could be.
Would you think that's what they were trying to do, was make everyone feel included?
Yeah. I think that there's a time and place. I think there's a time and place for all of it.
Yeah.
Like instead of I don't know. Maybe that's just my critical self because I'm like, well.
Oh, I think time and place, we can't emphasize that enough. Pajamas at the airport, neither the time nor the place.
Yes. I agree with you. Yes.
There, I say to my nephews, there's a time and place.
Yeah.
Right? When I have you at the park, I want you running and jumping and climbing like a lunatic.
Yeah.
When you're in my house in the living room, not so much.
Yes.
Get off my furniture. It's difficult for them because when they were 2, I let them climb all over my furniture because they were 12 pounds.
Yes.
Climbing on my furniture. And they were little, right? But now you're 65 pounds. I don't want you climbing on my furniture anymore. So I'm saying to them all the time, time and place. There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And this is neither the time nor the place for some of the stuff you're doing. In the airport, neither time nor place.
Yes.
For your pajamas.
Would you wear a thong?
No.
Never?
In public? No. And I'm 54 now. A lot of things are going by the wayside. I wear a one-piece bathing suit at the pool because I'm swimming and I don't want to move around.
I get that. Yeah.
I haven't owned a one-piece bathing suit since I was 12.
Yeah.
It's going back in that direction.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Lisa and Robin on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live. We're going at the top of the hour, and then we will be back. Stay tuned.
Broadcasting from 200 Main Street in the beautiful and historic Masonic Building. This is WSMN 1590 AM and WSMN 95.3 FM, Nashua. Streaming live at WSMN.live.
USA Radio News, I'm John Summers. A record-breaking deployment at sea is creating a mental health crisis aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier. About 5,000 sailors and Marines have been on board the USS Abraham Lincoln since November. Democratic Senator Chris Blumenthal Wednesday sent a letter to the Pentagon about the concerns it's been raising. California Senator Adam Schiff pushes the idea of nationwide legal representation for illegal aliens.
Schiff, a Democrat, recently reintroduced federal legislation that would guarantee the right to legal representation for all people in deportation or legal immigration proceedings if they're unable to afford it. Similar bills have been introduced in the past. Schiff says it's more important now than ever with the Trump administration's immigration policies. Researchers say having legal representation improves a person's chances of winning an immigration case. I'm Daniel Martindale.
The Justice Department announced arrest in an alleged sham marriage scheme involving Chinese citizens. Attorney General Todd Blanche says nearly a dozen suspects arranged more than 1,000 fake marriages since 2016, paying U.S. citizens to marry Chinese nationals. Authorities say the marriages were staged to appear legitimate and help the Chinese nationals obtain green cards. New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced a multi-million-dollar fund to assist unaccompanied illegal minors in immigration court.
Hochul made the announcement following a federal contract expiration at the end of July.
Imagine being that little kid so scared in an unfamiliar country, missing mom and dad, not knowing much English, trying to defend yourself in a courtroom. Any parent knows that is preposterous.
The governor said the over $7 million fund will help provide legal services for more than 1,000 children across the Empire State. In New York, I'm Lizzie Radabali.
From America's News Network, USA Radio News.
Business owners, are you paying high phone bills for old school systems and lousy service? StrongTel cuts your phone bills in half and turns every phone you own into a feature-rich business system. Sean Roddy, CEO of Hennings Brothers Drilling, had this to say: "We've been a StrongTel customer for over 10 years. It's great. It even includes an intercom with video to our equipment yard. I can watch live from anywhere with my smartphone. I'd recommend StrongTel to anyone. Never miss a customer call again with your StrongTel business system. StrongTel is a proud iTex partner and always welcomes your iTex dollars. You'll get award-winning StrongTel service, a business-class phone system, and cut your phone bill in half. Visit strongtel.com. That's StrongTel, StrongTel.com. It's StrongTel.
A $2 Powerball ticket sold in Illinois has turned out to be worth over $1 billion. The Illinois Lottery says the winning ticket in Wednesday night's $1 billion Powerball drawing was purchased at a convenience store in the town of Quincy. The massive jackpot has a cash value of more than $450 million. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson could face a recall election.
Recall charges have been filed with King County Elections, which starts the process. They accuse Wilson of failing to adequately address public safety concerns, police leadership, and the city's camera surveillance system. The charges will be reviewed by the prosecuting attorney's office. It would develop a ballot synopsis, which goes to a judge. If a legal standard is met, organizers would have